So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining our Facebook Live for today, January 25th. Andy and I welcome you all and thank you for joining in. Andy, you want to start off with some policy updates?
Sure. Well, as always, we'd like to start out with our COVID case rate and vaccination rate count. And there's good news on both fronts with that, Mayor. The good news is that the number of active cases in the city seems to be declining quickly. It's down to 769 as of the county's last count. We're looking at the county's data portal on COVID from January 23rd. It was updated. So that number of 769 it's a big number, but it's down from over 1,000 just a week or so ago. So it's coming down fast. It was at 1,400 on the first week of January. And there's not really cause for celebration here. The city's rate of vaccination has surpassed 90%. And that's a
amazing
piece of news. I mean, I've been waiting for that for a while. And we've been promoting vaccination and public health information all over the places. And I know you yourself have spent a good deal of time just handing out masks to people over the last few weeks. So maybe you should just chat about that for a minute.
It's been great. Deputy Mayor Riley and myself have given out over 8,000 masks. Simply at the top of City Hall, people walking in on Mondays and Wednesdays coming in and getting 10 masks per person. We are doing it again on this Wednesday. We have probably about 1,500 masks to go. So from 3 to 5 on Wednesday, we'll be there handing out masks. And if we are successful in handing out all those masks, that will be 10,000 masks that we've given out over the last 4 or 5 weeks. So we're thanking our residents for coming out and getting them and using them. I'm seeing people wearing them around town. They are the KN95s. And I think that's why we're seeing our numbers going down. We're following the trend. It's good to see. We're still out there. 769 people are a lot of people with COVID, but the numbers are certainly going in the right direction. Talking about that as well, just know that the Youth Bureau will also be handing out the COVID-19 antigen rapid tests that were given by Senator Harckham. And I believe that is going to be on January 28th at 12:30 when they're doing the food drive as well. So just so people know, you can still get those tests. So the city is fighting hard to keep our residents safe.
Yeah, that's great. We appreciate that's a lot of masks to give out. So
yeah, it is.
And it's nice to see people coming to the door, and we welcome people in City Hall. We've had the need to require masks and require temperature checks and kind of limit access in various ways to keep people safe. We're really proud for the City Hall to function as a place where people can come and get things that they need. And it's nice to see that happening in the case of masks as well. Early in the pandemic, the mayor was giving out hand sanitizer jugs to childcare centers and stuff like that. We went through that whole process, right?
Right. It is.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, last night's meeting of the City Council, there was a lot of great policy work going on. I wanted to mention a couple of items from that are probably worth follow-up discussion. One is moving forward with assessing the top of the water treatment plant and the top of James Street Garage for solar installation. These would be a solar project that's built by an independent solar developer that pays rent to the city and then offers the solar power. It's actually at a discount to local residents, and the city would work with the developer to actually subscribe residents who are in need, focusing on low and moderate income families. These solar projects together would probably serve the needs of about 200 households in the city. So it's not insignificant. It's not everybody, obviously, but it's a significant sort of investment, and it offers an opportunity. So we're hopeful that project will go forward. Today, I'm working on the paperwork to give us access so they do some technical review of our rooftops.
Right. And just to remind people, it's a start. It's not the beginning it's the beginning of getting solar here, but it's certainly not the end. And it's two places that really are conducive to that kind of use. So we're excited about it. And it's really at limited cost, if anything, to the city, which makes it even better and gives a benefit to our residents. So we're real excited about that.
Yeah, we need to do everything we can on climate change, basically promoting renewable energy and so on. Actually, just today, Mayor, I'll chat with you this offline soon, but I had a meeting with a company that installs electric vehicle charging stations to review ways in which we could increase the number of those stations that are available to people in the city. People
That's
visit.
a good thing.
Yeah, so
the cars are coming there. You see every model changing to electric or some kind of hybrid. So definitely
There's,
something we'll need.
there's really going to be extraordinary growth and demand for those charging stations over the next 5 years, probably.
Absolutely.
And so we need to be ready for that. We want Peekskill to be a place where if you're driving an electric vehicle, you're not worried about finding a place to charge it up.
Right. Come here, shop here, hang out here, charge a car here.
Yeah, we'll sell you the electricity too. So yeah, so it's exciting to see that moving forward. Probably the biggest policy issue that got treated last night was the adoption of the Affordable Housing Ordinance. Mayor, do you want to speak to that a bit?
Yeah, so this has been a long time coming. The council has been working on this for a very long time. What this affordable housing ordinance will do is that any market rate project that comes into the city of Peekskill will now have to do 10% of their units for affordable housing. It will be run through a third-party administrator who will handle all of that for the city of Peekskill. But it gives us the opportunity to make sure that when these market rates are coming in, that there will be affordable housing units in those complexes. This is not a where all be all. This is just the beginning of affordable housing. It's not going to solve our affordable housing issues. Those are global issues. It's difficult to live anywhere, but it's a beginning for us. And we have something on the book and the ordinance that will make sure that, you know, we're having affordable housing here. So we're excited about it. It's a working document. There's some changes that will have to be made with that in terms of if we do a payment in lieu of them doing units. But the council will continue to work on that, decide how we want to handle it. But it's definitely a step in the right direction to make sure we have something on the books. So I thank the council. I thank our planning committee. I thank Rose Noonan. I get that name right. Rose Noonan
Yeah,
for
Rose, she was
coming
the
out and being a
consultant on the
consultant
project.
for us and pointing us in the right direction. I know everyone is not happy about it. I know, you know, people wanted different things on it, but it is definitely a start for our city. And the council is proud of getting this passed.
I think it's important to note that these are for market rate projects that otherwise wouldn't be required to provide any affordable units at all. This
Exactly.
law requires a 10% set aside. So
And people should also realize that most development that's going on, that this is going to affect, is property that owners already own, that they're going to come in. And if they didn't have this, as you said, they didn't have to do any affordable housing. They could build, you know, what they want. So
it's good to see that move forward. Another topic that we talked about last night was the issuing of a bid for the construction of the trail system up on Fort Hill Park. Fort Hill, of course, has a wonderful location up at the top of the mountain there. And there are some trails in that park, but they were overdue for improvement. And there's just a beautiful plan that the planning department has developed along with some trail design consultants. And that will be going out to bid. It's all paid for by grants. And it'll be exciting to see those. It's not like building a road, you know, they're building trails with little steps and erosion control barriers, interpretive signs about the history and the ecology of the area, different ways of getting up on there. For example, off of Decatur, there's some steps that go up that need to be improved. And that's really close to a school, which is great access for the students as well.
absolutely. And it'll give people an opportunity to actually utilize the parks and kind of know what's there and give information and to beautify the park without really disturbing the natural quality of it. So it's great. And the fact that it's all paid, not by the city, makes it even better.
Yeah, in that case, it's great. We really have had some great progress on strategic planning for parks lately, Mayor. When you think about the $1 million we got through advocacy with Sandy Galiff for the Depew Park upgrade with the basketball courts, the pickleball courts for people who want to do that, the improved track around the football field and irrigation, adding some, what are they called? Like those small sort of fenced enclosures for playing almost like indoor soccer, only it's
Yes.
outdoors.
There's a
Mini,
name for it, but I don't know it.
yeah, I think I call it mini pitch.
That's it. It is.
It was really exciting. I mean, those improvements are just amazing. And then you look down at the waterfront, the riverfront, the project, which is also fully grant funded, which is basically extending that trail across the back of the beach there and kind of over near where the stream comes out and around where the volleyball courts are. That's going to be really, really neat. It's going to create kind of a new way of walking along the waterfront. And even part of that will be kind of a little sort of a boardwalk kind of aspect, which will get
Boardwalk and
people
beachfront.
over some of the natural vegetation, which needs to be restored on the waterfront there for ecological reasons. It's really an exciting thing to see happening.
Yeah, our parks are beautiful, and these grants allow us to maintain them and make them even more beautiful. And it's really an attraction for our families and to attract people to come here. So it's really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the path being built at the waterfront. So you don't even have to walk in it's safety. You don't have to walk in the parking lot to get to the other side of the park. So
Right.
it really be a nice addition.
Yeah, while we're talking about grants, I wanted to toot our horn just a little bit about this $800,000 water quality improvement grant. This was a long time coming. The city had hired an engineering company to identify all the locations where our storm drains are actually connected to the sewer system, and those connections need to be removed.
Disconnected.
And the storm drain system needs to be expanded to convey rainwater not into sewers but into the stormwater system so that it runs off into local streams and so on. And there are numerous connections like that around the city. And what happens is rainwater gets into the sewer lines. Sewer lines typically could be 8 inches in diameter, something like that. A stormwater drain is going to be a couple feet, so it can get like a whole rainfall down it. These sewer lines can easily be overwhelmed, and we have pump stations that need to pump all of that sewage over towards the county treatment plant. And they have to work a lot harder when there's a lot of rainwater coming through, which costs money and wear and tear. There's always the risk of overflow as well during a hard rain. And so that investment of $800,000 will help to disconnect a whole bunch of those currently existing storm drains and take them out of the sewer system. There's more to do. There's millions of dollars worth of infrastructure investment that needs to take place in the city, but this is a great kind of step forward for water quality and for the way we manage our various flows of water under the streets. So it's pretty exciting to see that. The city council had approved the consultancy by Barton LaJudas, which is another engineering company. They helped us put that grant application together through the state, the consolidated funding application, which is kind of a portal for all different kinds of state grants. And we're very lucky to get money through the water quality improvement program, which is a pretty competitive process. They only fund things that really are going to make a difference to water quality. So pretty exciting to see that. We're going to be working on follow-up to get through sort of design process and so we can start doing bids on that construction work.
And kudos to our water department. And these are one of the many things that they handle and take care of that people don't see and don't know about. There's a lot of work that goes on there. So kudos to them for doing such a great job in maintaining our water department. So,
and on that, I mean, it's always nice to recognize when the team has to rally to fix a broken water main, and that happened last week. It happened just a day or so ago as well.
a couple of times last week. They've been busy.
In the middle of the night, these guys come out. They actually got the thing fixed before people got up in the morning, which was nice. So there's very little interruption in service, and the team really comes out and fixes stuff really professionally and in a timely way. We use the code red system to let neighbors know if there's going to be interruption in their water service. People know, hopefully now, that sometimes you get some discoloration in the water subsequent to a break like that, where the water gets stirred up the sediments out of the pipes and so on. So,
Yep.
so we really appreciate the support of the community and the kind words people email to us. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Another topic I just want to mention related to the downtown revitalization process. The city obviously is working its way through a whole bunch of projects related to the downtown revitalization initiative. The first contract we're actually setting up with a state agency is the fund. It's $700,000 for small businesses, local businesses, to do capital improvements. We're talking about facades, new equipment, and sort of architectural elements within their buildings that are important for their businesses. We just identified a contractor who's going to be our coordinator of that project. She's wonderful, and she's going to meet with local businesses and explain how the grant program works. We're going to start promoting that as soon as she's on board. It's a pretty exciting project. The grants will range from a few $1,000s up through probably $100,000 depending on the case. And the grant helps to pay, also offsets the cost of the administration. So this contractor consultant who's coordinating the project is paid for out of the state monies.
Right. Very exciting. Her resume was amazing. She's done this type of work and has had nothing but rave reviews. So I'm excited that she's coming to the city and excited for our business owners who will be able to benefit from this grant.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I wanted to mention also, while we're talking about people, the city council appointed 2 wonderful people to sit on boards and commissions last night. That's Janine Melillo onto the Conservation Advisory Committee, which is such an important group working on issues of sustainability, the tree ordinance, and other things. And they actually have an event coming up I want to tell you about in a minute. and also to Yao Cunningham Bay, who serves on the Board of Tax Assessment Review, which is a group, most people don't know about it unless you challenge your taxes, and they sit and provide an independent review of any requests for reassessment. And that group's going to be meeting soon because the deadline for tax grievances is coming up in the early part of the year.
Yeah.
So we thank them for their service to the city. And while we're talking about that, I know we're recruiting for a couple of boards and commissions where we really need to fill some vacancies. So if you don't mind.
Before you go on to that, Andy, I just want to say that both Janine and Yael are reappointments. So they've been doing this work and they're continuing to volunteer. So I want to thank them very much. The boards and commissions are extremely important to the city. A lot of the city business is done through these boards and commissions, and it takes time. They're not paid, they are volunteers. And just want to say how appreciative we are for not only doing it one time, but re-upping to do it again. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say we have over 200 employees, we have over 200 volunteers on boards and commissions who do important parts of running a city.
Right.
We are recruiting for very important vacancies on the planning board, the zoning board, the historic board, and the housing authority. All four of those groups have vacancies, and it's very important that we find qualified, interested, enthusiastic city residents to participate in those. They have regular meetings. The information about those positions is available on the city website, call the city manager's office. And we really are looking for some people who are very interested in those different things. For planning, it's all about land use and helping sort of discern the pros and cons of various development proposals and guide the plans towards being a benefit to the community. Zoning obviously is an application of the city's zoning law. The historic, city has a historic district where there's a review of changes in the facades of buildings and their window treatments and other kinds of things which have to be in compliance with historic codes. And the housing authority obviously runs probably 200 or more housing units spread across Bowman, Barnum, and the turnkey houses that all require the oversight of a board of commissioners. And we really appreciate these volunteers and the work they're doing, and we welcome applications and letters of interest and resumes. They can certainly contact the city manager's offices if they have any questions.
In the housing authority, it's 273 units across Bowman, Dunbar, and Turnkey.
Right.
Not only are we looking for commissioners that are appointed by our city manager for that, but the housing authority has 2 tenant positions that are open on the commission. So you'll be a tenant commissioner. You have to live in housing. There's a petition process. You can pick up your petitions now in the office at Bowman and get them turned in. I think you need 15 or 18 signatures on it. And then there's an election that's done for that. But it's important that you have representation on this commission. So we encourage tenants to apply and get on that board as well.
Mayor, we can certainly keep talking about various topics. We are getting a fair amount of questions on the Facebook. If you want to switch channel to that, we could take a look at some of that.
Yeah,
just take a look. We try to address questions. Sometimes we don't have all the answers on the spot, but we're happy to follow up with an email. So a couple of people chiming in here. I actually don't know the answer to this one. What is the status of the sculpture from the September 2018 gun buyback program? I was not around when that took place, so I don't know anything about that sculpture. Do you?
I do not know, but we can get that information and get back to them. I'm not sure if it was a purchase for a sculpture. I'm not quite sure what the contribution was, but we can find out.
I think Councilwoman Talbot was quite involved with setting up that gun, so maybe I'll email her to you. Somebody wants to know how many guns were confiscated in 2021 by the PPD. That isn't something we have easily available. Someone wants to know how many summonses were issued for winter parking and sidewalk cleaning violations after the past. A lot. Probably I'm going to say in the neighborhood of 30 or 40, but you know what we'll do, Mayor, is we'll do a summary report to the city council soon on the sidewalk snow removal and how that's going. With the code officials have been very active on that, and there's literally dozens of violations have been issued on failure to clear snow from sidewalks. And also, it's a good reminder to our listeners and others that the city does require all adjacent property owners to clean their sidewalks of snow. If it's a commercial or mixed use property, it's within 4 hours at the end of snowfall. If it's in the residential area, it's up to 24 hours. Of course, we appreciate if people get to it sooner. And the city does have the authority to impose a cleanup if there's a failure to clean up by the property owner and charge the property owner for that work.
And as a reminder, it's just not the initial snow. If it snows, you clean it up and it melts, you're responsible for making sure you resalt it to get rid of the ice the next day or in the coming days. So it's important that you just make sure you maintain the sidewalks and make sure they're safe and clear, passable for.
Yep, you gotta stay on it. It's hazardous out there. It really is, you know, and the sidewalks are such an important part of the community. Kids going to school, you know, people just getting back and forth. So we appreciate people's help with that. And so many people are actually doing it, and it's great.
You're doing a great
The
job.
vast majority of people take care of their sidewalks, and we really appreciate that. Let's see. So we have someone wanted to see sort of more reporting out on DPW projects completed or something like that. We periodically have our head of public works present to the city council, and we'll promote those presentations so everybody has a chance to learn more about what projects we're working on. We recently had the head of the water department do a pretty comprehensive review of what's going on in that department. So we'll continue that practice. People like the Code Red reverse 911 system for various alerts. We've been using that more lately.
How do people sign up for the Code Red, Andy?
Yeah, thanks for that, Mayor. So if you look at the city website, there's a tab for that, and you can sign up for Code Red, which is operated by the city. You should also consider signing up for New York Alert, which has storm warnings and Amber alerts and other things that can go to your phone, your email. I sign up for both of them basically. So when there's a big storm coming, both of my phones are ringing, and they really are handy for getting immediate news. Obviously, the city isn't running a weather service, so people need to kind of sign up for those alerts for themselves. We do post on Facebook when a storm is coming, reminders about the winter parking regulations, about the availability of the parking garage for storing your car during a storm, and other kinds of reminders. And obviously, thanking people for their cooperation, because it's people getting their cars out of the way that enables us to push the snow to the side of the road. Exactly. When the cars aren't moved, it really jams up the whole program. And there's a question here about the Senior Citizen Volunteer Board Advisory Board, and there are vacancies on that board, I believe, which we should be recruiting for that as well.
We absolutely are. Deputy Mayor Riley just actually asked for the list of who was on there. She's going through it, contacting people, seeing if they want to renew, seeing how many positions are open, and then it will actually go out in the next coming weeks to get new members. But there are definitely some openings on there. So look forward to that in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so that completes our rundown of Facebook comments and questions so far, Mayor. Okay. Hold on, there's one more. Maybe we'll take one more, right? Okay. For Mr. Smith. He's talking about turning buyback guns into a sculpture that will be displayed in the city. That sounds like a really creative and important project. I'd like to hear more about it. I don't know anything about the project, so if he could just email me so that we can support that artistic project, that would be wonderful. It sounds like a really interesting project. So thank you, Mayor. Is there anything else you'd like to wrap up with? Just kind of want to go over some events that are happening. So the Black History nominations were due on the 14th. That information is in. The council will be making some decisions on that. We had some interesting comments last night regarding Hayward Burns and also Coleman Smith. So we're looking into that and trying to see how we celebrate them and recognize them in the city with some kind of plaque or however we're going to do it. But the council is going to talk on that. Want to talk a little bit. It's a somber time. The city has lost some people, some families have had suffered some losses within the city, and also recognize Jason Rivera, the 22-year-old New York City police officer who was gunned down last week. We will be sending, our chief said last night, probably some of our officers to attend and recognize his funeral. But these are grave times and tough times, and the gun back programs are things that can get guns off of the street. So the city is really in tune to that and looking at working on those kind of things. But again, those families, we really want to hold them in our prayers and thoughts.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I wanted to mention also as a closer, the Peekskill Conservation Advisory Council is holding an environmental film series, and the next event is Thursday, the 27th at 7 on Zoom. And it's going to be a discussion of the film Don't Look Up. And it's a question of sort of the impact of money, politics, and media on environmentalism. Looks like a really fascinating program. It's being promoted on the city's Facebook page. If anybody's interested in coming in, it's free and should be a very interesting discussion.
Yeah. And lastly, the Youth Bureau is having their MLK service. Their theme is the service that we give, and that's by Zoom on the 25th at 7 p.m.
Mhm.
It's off Facebook Live, I believe.
Yep. All right. And just a reminder, the Youth Bureau is hosting Feeding Westchester, the free food giveaway this Friday, along with free COVID test kits with support from Senator Harkin on that event. That's between 12:30 and 2.
And I think that's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank
Take care
you.
now.